Hi, I'm Nicole Crane, and today I'm going to be talking about body shame and shutting down around that shame. This is in support of Exquisite, which is my women's program. It starts on the first week of August, as soon as August 1st. So I'm really excited. I am taking discovery calls for that right now. Let me just drop some info. Okay, so that's the website to get a little bit more information as well as to apply. So the reason that I'm talking about body shame is because when I first started doing my sex, love, and relationship coaching program, I had a lot of huge releases around shame and around conditioning, and it was actually kind of scary because after I pulled back some of these layers, I actually realized that there was a lot of societal conditioning, is what I attribute this to, that made me feel really shameful around the way my body smelled, the way it looked, its shape, its fluids, things like that. And it was really intense because as I became more connected to my body and more connected to my sensations, I realized that it was more intense. So everything was kind of turned up and increased. Like I like to talk about it like in terms of like becoming a vampire, where everything is a little more intense and vibrant and delicious and whatever. But in this case, it was not a good, like a fun experience for me. So like I almost say like it felt like being possessed, because it was definitely like, I talk a lot about subpersonalities, and usually I have a lot of good things to say about them, but this specific subpersonality that was revealing itself in parts of my body was very judgmental, and it was kind of like the voice of society saying that I was like dirty and weird and I smelled bad and I should be ashamed of myself. And I had really internalized these messages over decades, actually, of hearing these messages of how, you know, like I needed perfume and deodorants and sprays and douches and all these things to like be acceptable for society. And I'd really, really deeply internalized them. So, letting go of this shame is actually a form of plugging up energy leaks, which is a huge focus of the empowerment work. So Exquisite is about half empowerment practices, and then the other half is various practices from my entire scope of the sex, love, and relationship coaching training that I went through. I kind of picked and chose like the ones that I felt would be most empowering for the women that I want to be working with. But really, like, there is so much energy that goes into all of this hygiene stuff and all of this. It's actually perfectionism masquerading as judgment. And so a lot of my worthiness and deservingness was tied up in this too. And so when I really realized like how natural some of these things are and how beautiful, like especially like sexual fluids and things like that, I'm just like, this is a gift. Like, I can't control that this is part of my existence and part of my body and the way that it functions, but also it's beautiful and it's sensual and it's part of who I am. And once I really started to embrace that and cultivate love and acceptance around it, I had this huge blossoming appreciation for how spectacular my body is and how grateful I am that it's functioning in a healthy capacity, and that, you know, like sweat and like you know, like natural lubrication and things like that are actually so beautiful, and I'm so grateful that my body is functioning properly. So the way that I like to look at this shame is that your ego is throwing a tantrum. So when you have like a huge shift in perspective, or even to go as far as saying like a spiritual awakening, sometimes your ego starts freaking out because it realizes that basically there's a state that you can exist without being kind of like swayed and pulled around by its influence. And that is really scary for the ego. So it'll play really dirty in order to kind of like pull rank on you, so to speak. And so this is definitely what was happening for me, is my ego felt like, oh my God, if we just love ourselves, then we don't have to like hold up all these expectations and it's gonna be over for me. And so it was like this like weird little, I mean, I would say death rattle. It's not that I killed my ego permanently, but it definitely felt threatened and it lashed out. And so I just think that that's really important to talk about, whether it's, you know, fears about having or getting STDs, STIs, feeling uncomfortable and unconfident about the body, being like weirded out and ashamed of your smells, or like just weird behaviors. Like sometimes we do weird shit in the bedroom. Like sometimes it's really fun in the moment, and then later you're like, why did I do that? That was like super, super weird, and we feel really like self-conscious. And so a lot of these processes, not just the breath work, which is kind of a shortcut to getting into an altered mind state where it becomes very clear what is your natural essence and what is kind of like these expectations and these social norms and things like that that are like layered on top of and cover up and sometimes stifle your natural expression of who you truly are. And we also have like a lot of processes that I am so excited to take you through around not just sorting out like which is which, but also just like embracing what is. Like especially like my tummy. Sometimes I get really hard on myself, especially when I'm at work and I'm like surrounded by these 18, 19, 20-year-old girls, and it makes me feel really insecure. Even though like now I have little mantras that I do that kind of keep me motivated, keep me in a happy, positive mindset, because it's really easy to spiral out, especially at work. And guys can kind of smell fear. It's like blood in the water and the sharks start circling, and then it's like actually kind of dangerous sometimes. So it is part of my self-protection and my like building my worthiness to help me have a good night instead of putting myself into danger. But you know, like the other day I was actually at work and I was like jiggling my belly and it was actually hot, and I'm just like, okay, I get it now. Like but it just gave me this like playful, deep appreciation for what was in that exact moment, and I didn't have any judgment, I didn't have any fear. I was just like really present with my belly and with its jiggle, and I was having fun with it, and I actually had like a spectacular day. So I would just love to encourage you to find playful, curious ways to look at your challenges around your own body, around your own insecurities. And if you'd like some help with that, I would love for you to reach out and to guide you along with some of those. And I just wanted to plug that this is the final week. So Sunday night at midnight, the date is, where's my mouse? Okay. The 7th. So Sunday the 7th at midnight, I am cutting off the early bird pricing for Exquisite. So I'm still taking applications and discovery calls after that. But if you don't at least get me your application by Sunday night at midnight, you will be charged at regular pricing. So I would love to get as many people in as possible. And I am cutting it off at 12 participants for this round. So we're going to end in, I think it's late November. I think we have all of December off. So if you have any questions, please follow that link or reach out and privately message me. I would love to clarify anything that you have questions about. Or honestly, like I still haven't done that many discovery calls. So I guess I've been kind of lucky that my conversion rate or whatever is pretty high, but they're really fun. And there's no commitment. So if you're kind of on the fence, I would love to do a free discovery call with you anyway, just for the practice. It's really fun, and it does offer some clarity around subjects without getting into really deep processes. So it's relatively harmless and fun and playful, and you're going to walk away with some clarity. So if you're interested in one of those, please contact me and I'll send you a link to book one. And I hope that you're having a fabulous evening, and I will see you next week. Mwah! Thanks so much. Oh, and really quick, while I'm trying to find the button to close this, I am just doing weekly segments in my group. On Tuesday night, I'm posting them in YouTube on Thursdays, and if you want to get them twice a week, then subscribe to my email list. It's on my website. On the main page, there's a Feel Hot Naked that you can subscribe to and get like a little tutorial on how to connect with your body more deeply. Or at the very bottom, there's another link where you can just directly subscribe to the email list without getting that free bonus if you're not interested in that. So thank you so much. I love you guys. We'll talk soon. Bye.